Thank you so much for joining me today. As a permanent resident of Canada, there are many conditions and requirements that must be met in order to maintain your permanent residency. Additionally, a permanent resident card does not renew automatically and therefore it does expire. It is extremely vital for your permanent residency status in Canada for you to renew and keep your permanent residency card valid. If it expires, you must renew it. However, if you are currently abroad, this may be a complicated process. Therefore, in this video, I will address what you need to do if your PR card expires while you're traveling outside of Canada, and how to apply for a permanent resident travel document. As a permanent resident of Canada, you must always have your permanent residency card with you while traveling. Specifically, this is the case if you are traveling via airplane, boat, bus, train, or car. Essentially, it is the permanent resident's responsibility to have their permanent residency card valid while they are traveling. If the PR card expires while the permanent resident is outside of Canada, they must apply to renew their permanent resident card once they return to Canada. In the meantime, trying to return to Canada can be an unexpected endeavor for many permanent residents who did not realize that their permanent residency card had expired while they were traveling outside of Canada. Keep in mind, as previously mentioned, a permanent resident cannot renew their permanent residency card if they are outside of Canada. Therefore, in order to return to Canada successfully, they must apply for a permanent resident travel document. However, if you are coming to Canada through a private car, you do not need to apply for a permanent resident travel document. You can actually provide other documents in order to denote your identity and re-enter the country. For example, you can actually provide your driver's license that was issued by a province or territory in Canada. On the other hand, if a permanent resident plans on traveling to Canada via plane, bus, train, boat, or any of those commercial vehicles, they actually do have to apply for a permanent resident travel document prior to returning to Canada. Essentially, if they do not apply for this document, they will not be able to re-enter the country. Once and if they successfully enter Canada, then they must apply to renew their permanent resident card. It is important to note that there are certain rules and regulations for each visa office, depending on which country you are applying from for the permanent resident travel document. It is always advisable to contact the nearest visa office in order to determine what is needed from you prior to applying for a permanent resident travel document. In order to apply for this travel document, you must provide immigration with certain documentation to validate your identity and permanent residency within Canada. For instance, you must provide at least 2 pieces of evidence to prove your permanent residency in Canada, such as employment records, bank statements, taxation documents, club memberships, etc. Therefore, it is extremely important for you to understand and acknowledge what exactly is required of you prior to applying for a permanent resident travel document. Inevitably, if you do not provide the requested documentation and information to immigration, this can cause delays and complications to your return to Canada. In the worst case scenario, they actually may refuse your entry into the country. It is essential that you have taken all of the aforementioned information into consideration if your permanent residency card has expired while you are traveling outside of Canada. Here at Acknowledgement Associates, we have worked and dealt with many different immigration matters, and we have helped many of our clients renew their permanent residency status within Canada. If you believe that you may be eligible to renew your PR card, or if you would like to apply for a permanent residency travel document, please feel free to contact us. With Acknowledgement Associates, there's always a way.